Welcome to Season 2 of Why Your Business is Invisible Online. This season, we focus on the dramatic change artificial intelligence is having on your online visibility. Joining me are my two co-hosts, and here they are.
Hi, this is Jim Filatico. I'm currently obsessed with planning my next beach adventure for my whole family.
Hi, I'm Kelly Biggs. We're talking about AI this season. I'm wondering, can I get an AI agent to clean my house?
And I'm your host, John Manatis, still glued to my guitar, but with my new band planning our next tour. Okay, we're back for another amazing episode at Are You Invisible Online. Really looking forward to this one. Today is all about my favorite topic, which is content. And I love it because we always associate content with royalty. So content is still king. How it's changed, what still works, and what doesn't anymore. That's what this episode is really all about.
John.
Yeah.
Wait. Well, so before we start that, I want to just kind of go back. I wanted to ask you something. Didn't you say that your band's working on a few new songs?
Oh yeah. My
What's
band.
the latest there? Yeah.
Well, I love what I do with my guitar, guys. As you guys know, I'm pretty excited about this one. We're working on a charity event for my old high school, which I loved high school. I don't know about you guys, but I loved my high school years.
Huh.
And
I feel that way about college. I don't know about high school.
Yeah, college was great too, but too much work. Whereas high school was a lot more fun than work.
You must have worked in college?
He didn't go to the SEC.
Or the Big Ten.
Right.
Well, yeah, U of T, University of Toronto was, those are tough years. Put it this way, I think I went through it twice because I used to record all my sessions with the profs, then have to go and rewrite them because they wouldn't pick questions from our textbooks. They would actually be questions from their actual lectures. So I wasn't, you would see 20 tape recorders at the front of the stage, at least 20 to 50 tape recorders. That's how bad it was. But anyway, music-wise, yes, I am excited. For the first time ever, we're doing a really eclectic set. The singer, he wants to do Van Morrison's Moon Dance, which is a standard actually, but you'd never get anybody asking us ever to play those kind of songs. So it's all cover songs. I'm also excited about, he wants to sing Rod Stewart's Hot Legs. So that should be fun. And then the other song we're doing is a really tough one. Steely Dan is known as being a difficult band to try to cover because of not only all the instruments, but everybody on their instruments in Steely Dan, they're like all studio musicians or geniuses basically. And so that one's a real challenge. And we're doing a really fun song called, I don't know if you guys know it, but it's Boz Scaggs has a song called Lido. It's the Lido Shuffle. Yeah, so we're doing Lido as well. So yeah, I've never done a set like this. It's always, typical top 40s. These songs are a bit more obscure. And for the first time ever, my brother, who can be a real pain sometimes because he learns his parts like in 10 minutes. It's like it comes so naturally to him.
What instrument does he play?
He's the drummer. So he's drummers. He doesn't have to learn notes, like musical notes and attach them together.
A little unfair advantage there.
Yeah. And then he goes and, he says, what's taking you guys so long? I'm going to go down and make a sandwich. And so this time, though, it's different. Like the Lido Shuffle, the beat is tricky. Moon Dance, it's like playing jazz drums. It's a lot more freestyle jazz. He's not used to that. So it's fun to see him struggle a little bit for a change. Yeah, he's not making as many sandwiches, that's for sure, this time around. Anyway,
I love that. Like the creative process in action.
We may have to crash the concert.
Yeah, you know what? I wish if you guys were up here, it would be a blast. Yeah, we only got 4 songs on the set because there's a lot of guys that want to play for this charity event. But we like sitting back and just listen to the other guys too. There's some really really cool stuff that comes up. Anyway, it'll be a fun night. Still got another month to learn the songs, so looking forward to it. So let's get back to content, guys.
Well, that is content.
Yeah,
That is content. Yeah, you know what? That is about a lot of the theme of what we're talking about is creativity, and that's what my plane is all about. But also what we're going to be talking about today. Content has gotten a lot more interesting because of AI. The impact of AI has been huge, and that's why I'm really looking forward to talking about all the aspects that have impacted the way we approach content now in order to get found. I feel that content definitely has to, you guys, me, we all have to work a lot harder now to get found. Traditional SEO had certain rules that we were comfortable with. AI is a bit of a curveball now. We had already adjusted to having our content everywhere. I think we all did a pretty good job of having our content, on Yelp or on social media platforms, Facebook, Instagram, depending on who our target was. But now with AI, and you want to be found now on ChatGPT, you want to be found on Claude, you want to be found on Perplexity, another curveball that we have to deal with. So that's what this is all about, helping our listeners and their businesses get found with all of the changes that have happened. So we have a lot of questions to cover. I have a lot of things I want to ask you guys. So why don't we just dive right into it and let's see where it goes. Jim, I'm going to start with you. I know that you don't believe content is dead, but what do businesses get wrong when they treat content just like a simple box to check? I got to get a blog done, I got to mail it in, basically. A lot of that maybe is because of traditional SEO being about a set of rules. Now we have a whole bunch of new things we need to do to make it valid and to make it potent going forward.
Businesses, what they do is they look at as just checking a box, and so they're not really looking back at what their strategy is. They need to make sure that the strategy flows all the way down to the content that they're doing on their websites and wherever else they're using content. So it's more about quantity versus quality, and it's not really focused. So it's a generic blog, it's generic content that isn't focused on their audience, right? Their personas that they want to go to and excite. It's just generic. And when they do that, it doesn't register. It doesn't resonate with them. The other thing is they don't realize that they can repurpose content. They can move it into social media and part of their email campaigns and all those kind of things. And when they measure more of the vanity metrics, right? How many impressions and that kind of thing. Right. What's important is how much engagement they're getting, how many leads and conversions. So all those things kind of add up to, well, we're not getting any results, so why do it, right? And that's not the right thing. You have to have that strategy in place first, to really focus. And then once you do that, then it works. The last thing I'll say is they don't realize that sometimes it takes time to get some traction, right? Yeah. Right. And so they'll post a blog, they're not getting enough they're not getting enough engagement, and then they move on to the next one. Yeah. Well, maybe it takes a little bit, and once it does, if you stop, if you don't repurpose, if you don't add to it, if you don't enhance it, then of course it's going to die. You know what I mean? So you have to make sure that if this is something that is resonating, then use it again and make sure that you kind of lean into it as opposed to just checking the box. Okay, I did a blog this month. Yeah. I wrote it to nobody. It had no distinct content. It's nobody. Done. Right?
I love that. Yeah. I love that. Yeah. Hey, there's a couple of things that you said there that were really important. And I just want to, your thought about not just writing a blog just to write a blog. Right. I think time, and then you mentioned time. I think time on the back end and front end are important. Yep. I think more than ever, we're in a point of where this could be, you can be a quick mover. If you have an original thought or you're super dialed in to who you're trying to talk to, your content will resonate straight away with the right person. If you're willing to lean in, what I see a lot of people do, I don't know if you see this, It's like when you're like, who do you want to talk to? And they want to talk to everybody. That will not work anymore.
Right.
Really won't work anymore. You have even if you say you talk to everybody, okay, let's try to put those in segments and buckets. And this month, talk to this one person.
Right.
I think you're going to see more traction that way. But I'm excited about the fact that if you can add value to that specific person, they're going to call you, and conversion and getting leads are going to be a little more easy and take a little less patience, I think, on the back end.
Yeah. Yeah, very,
absolutely.
very true.
Yeah. I mean, that is exciting. Now it really is about your target, understanding your target market and catering to them even more so than ever before. So that's great news, actually. One of the things I get hit with often is I get the odd client that says, they're starting to do well with content, and then they'll say, well, we should just do more. They think it's about quantity. Let's flood the zone with posts and whatnot. They get all excited and stuff. But is the issue really quantity? Or is it that sometimes perhaps your content maybe is not up to date? It might not be as relevant. You just talked about targeting to the actual personas that you've spent a lot of time defining. Is it too generic, et cetera? So can you elaborate a little bit about maybe where our content strategy has to go today?
Yeah. So one, I think that people looking at quantity and they're doing quantity based, I think it happens more frequently than we want it to happen anyway. Where I especially see this is like in B2B type businesses. I feel like content gets treated like a project or a due date, and it's not really like just embedded in your whole marketing process, right? So what I mean by that is pages might get written once, like Jim was talking about, and then we just kind of forget about them, rather than say, what I like to do is kind of a look back in content that I've had. And so what I mean by that is we wrote this post thinking that we were going to hit for these keywords. So when you're doing your monthly review, what I like to look at is for these keywords, what URLs are showing up and what aren't. Am I cannibalizing my own content? Is there a way to combine this or combine that? Is there a way to refer back? But the what here is content quantity is not the issue. It's like Jim said, it's quantity, is content quality above everything.
So when your content goes a bit stale, let's say it's stale, old links, outdated references, and so forth, what's sort of the ripple effect on things like trust, on your SEO results, on what I said earlier, on your AI discovery, being discovered on AI? Can you elaborate a bit on that, Kelly?
Yeah, well, let's walk through what this looks like, right? So somebody is navigating the web and they end up on your website for whatever reason. And they get there and what you're telling them is outdated. You're referencing, it's a good example. You start referencing our COVID policies. That screams that you're out of business, right? And so what are you going to do? You're like, this isn't useful. It's not adding any value. So if it even got served, which in this scenario we're saying it did, I'm going to bounce out, right? But more importantly than that, I'm going to say for AI, it's about signals. So you referencing that is signaling to them that you're out of date. And so that the way that the machine is trained, they're going to skip you.
Yeah.
Like your content is just not going to be served up.
Yeah. Jimmy, what do you do to keep your content fresh?
Well, you want to make sure that it's relevant to, like Kelly saying, to the time, or you want to make it as timeliness as possible. And one of the things that I see is with manufacturers is that especially if they don't sell direct, they sell through distribution or big boxes. They don't see the need to have that content and update that content. But when an end user wants to buy your brand and they go to your website to check out that brand and see what kind of information they have, should I buy this product over the next product? If you haven't updated your website and it's old and it's not, doing what it's supposed to do, it looks bad against your brand.
Mm-hmm.
And so they may go to a different brand based on that. And that's what, past life in corporate, that's happened a lot. Mm-hmm. And I still see it today where, again, people check the box, website's done, don't really need to blog. I have content on the website, but it's not updated. And so it just doesn't resonate with the people that are looking today. It's more important to have that when you freshen your content, when you have fresh content, that builds your authority. It helps AI find you when it's updated.
Mm-hmm.
And it helps you be stronger against your competition. The more you engage with your website, with your content, the more both Google and AI search say these guys are in business. They have expertise. They have authority. I'm going to serve them up.
Do you guys comb through old blog numbers and see the ones that were most popular? And then basically say, this is the kind of thing you could refresh almost every year. That topic is relevant annually. It just needs to be current because things have changed.
Yeah, there's a couple that you can do. There's some evergreen content.
Okay, there you go.
Where it doesn't matter. This isn't going to change. We're not creating. We're not a creative type of. We're not innovative necessarily. Mm-hmm. Like that. Yes. Some businesses are exactly like that. It's just not going to change. Where I see there's seasonality in other places where it's like in tax. It's interesting. We're debating this thought of, do we archive, like every tax season, do we archive what happened last year? And we decided no, because there are people who are late filers, right?
Oops.
Yeah. And so, and then also that might create some new content, right? What happens if I haven't filed my taxes in 3 years? Now that's hard because we got to figure out what year you're in. And so things like that. But it's just being thoughtful about, is this content, it's just being honest, like this is being served up. Is this content relevant today? And I think you should, I don't know, Jim, if you do this, have a natural, after this period of time, these should just go ahead and be archived.
Yeah, it's hard, like you said, with accounting firms. You probably want to keep it on for a few years. But then afterwards, if it doesn't have value, it just looks like you're not updating your website. Now, if you continue to add new, obviously that helps. But yeah, I agree with you. After a certain period of time, you have to let it go. But it's important, though, and especially now, we do a hell of a lot more blogging for our accounting firms from January through 1st of April than we do almost the rest of the year, because there's so much information coming out. Hey, before you get your taxes done, especially with business taxes, make sure this, make sure that, this rule changed. And there's been so many things that change that helps you build your authority. And, if a client of one of these accounting firms doesn't do something that they need to do based on what they read in a blog, you're in trouble. You know what I mean? That's probably the last you're going to be doing those taxes. So you have to make sure you stay top of mind and get that information out there. So yeah.
One thing in this section I wanted to touch on was content tying much, much better than ever to your target market and being meaningful to them. So just elaborate on that a little bit, especially in the world of B2B. What happens when content doesn't evolve with the buyer in mind?
Yeah, I mean, obviously the question is, probably the answer is pretty obvious to most, right? If your content doesn't evolve, then you're just not going to get new business. Right now, more than ever, I think buyers are super informed from whatever. I just feel like, you remember back in the day, we used to have those, like if you were buying electronics, right? Remember, you would get consumer reports. That's what I'm thinking about.
Yeah.
And so I feel like now the internet is the consumer reports for everything.
Yes.
You know, like
That's
there's
cool.
you're going to do your research, wherever you start, wherever you like to start, whether it's YouTube, TikTok, all the things that we've talked about before. Now this content is coming to you armed with information because the internet told them, right? And it used to be because Google told them, but now I'm going to broaden it to the whole internet because the internet told them. And so, and maybe that information isn't completely right, or maybe you do something different. And that's what you want to communicate, I think. If you haven't even taken the time to research what's out there about what you sell and what they might be coming to you with, and it may just be simple as listening to them when you do talk to a customer. Oh yeah, I read this or I heard this. Where? Just ask, or you go do the research yourself. But the more you can evolve to what people are hearing, and maybe even have a contrarian view, that could give you an edge.
The phrase I've heard here and there every so often is, your content, your legacy content could be technically live, but contextually, and that word context will come up quite a bit as we continue today's episode. But it's live, technically live, but your content is contextually obsolete. And I think you guys have been dealing with this concept of context a lot these days. Jim, maybe you can tackle this one. How do you feel context has become much more important to helping us being found?
Yeah, I have a firm that does Medicare. They help people with Medicare. If someone is searching for Medicare help, they don't know what they need help, and they're looking for it, especially now with AI search, because when you do a search on Google or on AI, the first thing they want to do is answer the question, solve the problem, right?
Yep.
So they're going to give you that summarization, right? They're going to give you that paragraph that tries to give you the answer immediately. Mm-hmm. If they're scraping your website and it says 2022, you're done.
Yeah.
Right? You're not going to be served up. And so that's where making sure that your content is updated, making sure that those things happen. Otherwise, you're going to be bypassed. And especially if that happens more and more, your authority drops and you go in the penalty box, right? I mean, you're not even going to be served up. It's just you've completely missed the opportunity to be that authoritative figure by not keeping your content up to date and relevant to today. And so the Medicare firm that I work with, they send me both federal and state documents that we update all the time on their website to make sure that it stays up to date so that they keep their authority based on that.
Yeah, that's smart.
I mean, the sense I'm getting is a running theme that if we're not keeping things up to date, we lose a lot of a brand or any company's how they want to be seen out in the marketplace. Their credibility falls dramatically when you don't keep your content up to date, fresh, and so forth. A lot of the things we've been talking about to this point. So now what? So we understand these things. What are some things we can help our listeners and our clients with when it comes to this? So Kelly, what's an easy way to flag old content that's hurting us more than helping us?
Yeah, so I'll give you two, because as Jim was talking, I thought about the one thing that I really pay attention to, and this is both on your website and in PowerPoints. And when I say this, you guys are going to be like 100%. Like, in your footer where it has like website created in, if yours is saying 2024 right now, go ahead and update it. Yeah. We're already into the year. It should be 2025. That happens on PowerPoint presentations too, right? Where it says copyright or whatever. Yeah. Like, go ahead and change those dates. That's a really quick one. But as it relates to content, I would just say getting a content audit, like we said, that's something that we definitely do for clients. And what we do is we just take and we just run an audit and see, like, from the very small and not going in, you can go depending on how many pages you have on your website. But we at least like to take like the first 20 pages of traffic. What we're checking for are the dates accurate? And these are the 20 pages. What we want to see is when people are going to your website, what are the top 20 URLs they're hitting on? And then we look on those pages. What we're looking for specifically is we're checking dates. We're checking external links, making sure none are broken, checking references. If it reads like it's from the past area, I have a funny story. I have a new client. I'll probably be talking about him as we go forward, but he does brand merchandising. And so his existing website, he's a cool kind of a dude, right? And so, but what you want to make sure is, are you cool? Are you still cool? Right? Like we were cool in the 90s and maybe into the 2000s, but some of the things that we probably said then, like something is fly. I'm thinking of Will Smith. Like this fly, what people say now in his world is, oh, that hits different. Right? So and even if you're going to say that, if you say this hits different, then what you're committing to is you better know what they're saying tomorrow, because hits different probably is going to fade out quicker than fly did. You know what I mean? So but you still want to stay relevant, because if the people buying the gear are Gen Zers and not Gen Xers or millennials, then you're not speaking to that audience.
Yeah, absolutely. Jim, I know, again, helping our listeners with good tips and so forth. What's your method for deciding, what to update, what to delete, what to leave behind, and so forth?
Well, to kind of build on what Kelly just said about taking those top 20 website pages, if it's ranking, when you do the analysis, if it's ranking, but you can see that slipping over time, especially if it has really important keywords, really targeted keywords that are important to your business, that's when you update it. You want to make sure that you can refresh it and make sure that those keywords and that page then now resonates more. If it has really good backlinks, you want to make sure that you update it, because you don't want to lose those strong backlinks. So those are some of the things you want to do. If the backlinks are broken, fix them, those kind of things, update it, and then check how well they're doing afterwards. If it's not getting any traffic, if it's below 20 and it's not getting any traffic, there's no backlinks, it's not doing much, you can delete it. There's no reason to have that, that the dead fruit hanging on the tree. If it's not doing anything for it, right? Or if it's tied somewhat to like a promotion that's over. Get that off of there. That screams. We haven't updated our website, right? Our 2024 spring promotion. Get rid of it. Christmas. There you go. But like Kelly said, if it's in the top 20 and it's ranking and it's performing well, you don't have to worry about it.
Exactly. Yeah.
If it's accurate, right, it has to be relevant to the client you're going after, and if those links are linking internally to the website, you want to make sure that you keep those up, just to make sure that it gets more and more traffic, and then you tie it to social media, you tie it outside of the website, and that just builds it even more. So if it's doing all that, leave it. But otherwise, that's what I would suggest.
Okay, so to wrap up this section, I mean, something I mentioned earlier was the importance of content now more than ever, not only for what we used to do with traditional, because we're still doing that, but with AI now and trying to be found everywhere, it's more important than ever. So is it fair to say that, I know you guys are big fans of content audits, pretty much everybody should be doing one right now. Now is a good time, considering the impact of AI. Plus, you're always freshening up how to be found on social platforms because they're all a little different, and the way your target markets are reacting to these different social platforms are different too. Like you were mentioning, millennials, they're going to react to Snapchat or TikTok or any of the platforms that you're out there very differently than another demographic group. So my gut tells me everybody should be doing a content audit right now just to set themselves up for future success and to have a decent foundation. What are both your thoughts on a content audit for most clients these days?
You should do it. And I would also say beyond audit, I would think about doing a refresh. And for me, if you're doing a refresh, you should do it, if you can swing it, it should be quarterly.
Mm-hmm.
And at a minimum, once a year, I would say treat it like spring cleaning. Pick a date and say, we're going to go ahead and do it. It just kind of, I would think of it this way. You wouldn't keep expired milk in your refrigerator. You shouldn't keep expired advice on your website either.
That's a great quote. I love that. Yeah. That's a great quote. What are your thoughts on that, Jim?
Yeah, I agree 100%. If you have marketing tasks that you do, you're posting on social media, you're doing a content calendar, you're doing all those things. This should just be a part of that. And I agree with Kelly. You do it one time, you do that big cleaning, but then to maintain it takes a lot less effort. But if you if you do the analysis and look at those top 20 pages and watch them, then if you're just fixing one page at a time or updating one page at a time or deleting one page at a time, it takes a lot less effort, but it keeps those search engines, all of them, aware that you're updating your website. So that's the best thing you can do. Just make it as part of your workload. It'll be tough at first when you do the first one, but after that, it shouldn't be that tough.
Okay, cool. So basically, yeah, we should be doing it. We should have an eye on it year round, but yeah, we should also pick one time a year where you do a thorough look at everything and set yourself up for future success. Before we move on to the next segment, let's sort of highlight some of the key points. We talked about obviously the importance of content and doing an audit and doing it year round, but also finding a point in time where you can do a thorough look throughout your content and really position it for success in the future, especially with the impact that AI is having. The other, key point there is the credibility that you lose when you're not doing it right, when you're not keeping things fresh and so forth. And I think in the world of AI now, your brand has become so much more important, and credibility and brand go hand in hand. And so if your content isn't fresh for whatever reason, and we're not keeping an eye on it, credibility, authority, these are the types of words that are associated with brand. And the reason I bring up brand, it'll come up more and more often, is because AI, with everybody using it and asking it the same questions, will tend to lead to content that looks the same. And so your brand is the thing that's going to differentiate you. Okay, so that wraps up our section on why content is still king. Clearly, you understand that there's a lot of things involved in the delivery of content in order to keep it fresh. In the world of content, and with content being king, there's another C word, actually, that's being introduced.
Careful.
Yeah. No. Get your minds out of the gutter, guys. It's not that C word.
Rhymes with what?
Yeah. But it's an important C word, though. The word is context, and you're going to hear a lot about it in the next little while. And context in the frame of mind as being a multiplier, having a multiplier effect. When you attach context to content, it's almost like you're putting it on steroids. You're turbocharging it in many ways. And let's spend some time talking about what that really means now and how it impacts us in a positive way in the world of AI. So Jim, let's define context in this new world. So when we say content needs context, like they need to be close partners, what are we really talking about?
Well, I think the way it kind of breaks down is the relevance of the content, the intent of the content, and kind of the timing. And I'll explain that. So as far as relevance, it's kind of the why. Why is someone searching for whatever product or service it is? Are they new to the search? Are they deeper down in the sales funnel? So that's kind of the why, and the relevance about it. What's the intent? Are they trying to buy? Are they just trying to get information? Are they looking just for research? What are they doing? And then what's the situation as far as, is it a seasonal thing that they're looking for? Is it because of economic shifts? Is it because of a local event that they're going to go to? So that kind of helps build the story around whatever they're searching for, any sort of trends or whatever. And then who you're speaking to, what is the person that you're really focusing on? What's important in their life? What are their pain points? What social media are they on? What are they on a mobile device? Are they searching on a computer? How do they like to consume info? You want to make sure that you have that. We've talked about TikTok being for younger generations, but there's arguments that older generations look on that too. But you want to make sure that you're in the right place, and then you want to make sure that you're providing the information for either one answer at the top, right? That the situation that they answer at the top, you want to be there if you can, that summary. Or maybe if they're just looking for information, maybe that's a blog post that there's a lot of information you can share and that kind of thing. So all those things kind of help put the story behind what you're actually, the content you're searching for. And so I think that kind of helps understand, making sure that it's focused on the person that's searching for it, at the time they're searching for it, on the right platform they're searching for, and what's their true purpose.
Yeah. No, I like that. I like that. It's like you're putting a frame around it, so the listener or the reader really understands, gets a better perspective on it. So that's awesome. So AI, Kelly, this one's a high level question, but I think we have to have a sense of how AI, what AI likes and what AI maybe isn't really interested in, because Jim described, context, content, the two go together. They're very important. There's a lot of information there, but AI is looking to pull from everything we're publishing and give straight answers to people who are asking very direct questions. So what are the things that you've seen so far? Because I think it's changing all the time, that AI seems to like when it's answering questions. For example, what I've noticed, just to get this one rolling, is if it sees like testimonials or reviews, it seems to like that the most, and it'll pull your content if you're getting a lot of good reviews, a lot of good feedback from your, you hear this UGC, user generated content. It seems to like that, and then it'll latch on to your content if it has that type of testimonial surrounding it, it's positive and so forth. At least I've seen those are the brands that get served up faster on AI than others. That's something I've seen. Have you seen other things in the way AI likes to pull information?
One, you answered your own question brilliantly.
Oh, did I?
Okay. So thank you for that.
Sorry, off the top of my head, sorry about that.
No need to be sorry about it. I think that it's valuable. I do think, though, I'm actually going to move a little bit to the so what on what you're saying.
Yeah.
So your answer is right. So you have AI that wants to answer people's questions straight away, right? You have AI that's going to look at user-generated content, or just how many times people are talking about your brand or business, because it wants to make sure that it's serving up the right thing, right? And so I think that because of this, people will have to make a pendulum shift. And what do I mean by that? I think that people are going to have to think about conversion and website traffic differently, because both of those things are going to change, meaning you're going to get 0 clicks. So if I'm getting 0 clicks, then what is conversion? Let's just think about conversion differently. What I think that people kind of want to know, or what they need to know, is lead with value. right? So what I'm saying is when you're answering a question or when you're putting things out there, traditionally, what we've done, and Jim, you correct me if I'm wrong, is written blogs. And at the very end, if you need help with this, contact such and such, right?
Yep.
Rather than do that, what you might want to say is you're given an answer to, let's just say maybe, let's go back to the tax firms, the accounting firms we're talking about. And every year that your helpful guide for for the 2025 tax year, right?
Right.
And then that's a guide that leads to a URL that's in the answer that you're putting at the top, not at the bottom.
Right.
So you see what I'm saying? Like, so you got to think about, if I have 3 sentences to get something across, let me give them, think I'm leading with value. I'm giving you something, right? And in that something, then if people click on it, they're going to stay and research, but you can't bury that down in paragraph number 10.
Yes. Yeah.
More.
That's a great
right?
point.
Never be found. Yeah.
Yeah.
So AI, what you're saying is AI loves that. Leading with value is something that AI is really
I think
looking
it's
for.
Value. They're looking for the right answer. They're looking for the right answer. Like Seamus said, they're looking for the answer with edge. If you've went about and created a guide that's downloadable, that's going to be unique to you.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. I agree. It differentiates you from your competitors. So that's awesome. Okay. Yeah. Jim, if content is the input and context shapes that output, what's at stake when you don't put that context in there?
It just makes things misunderstood. If it doesn't answer the questions you're looking for specifically, then people get aggravated. They bounce because it's, they've taken the time. And especially if they're on AI search, usually they're typing multiple, they'll type a whole sentence or multiple sentences. And then if you end up, trying to serve up something that doesn't have anything to do with that or is a one-off of that, you've completely blown it. And so the AI won't even serve that up because they want to make sure they answer that specific question, solve that specific problem with the context you've provided. Whether you've provided it yourself in your prompt or you've provided it based on your link, who you are. And so if you don't do that, it makes you look less viable next time for AI search.
Right.
So there's a chance you get put on the bench.
On the bench. I like that.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah.
It confuses the audience.
Yeah.
And ultimately it starts to damage your brand. Right, because now you're not doing what you're supposed to be doing to give solve the best, or to provide the best answer and solve the problem.
Yeah, that makes sense. And so
next thing you know, it's your competitors can be served up because they have better context around the content.
Yeah. I like that line about being put on the bench, especially since the hockey playoffs are about to start.
Exactly.
So,
right,
so that's and my team made it finally after I don't even know how many years.
We're rebuilding.
Yeah. You've heard that line before.
Who's your team?
Oh, the Montreal Canadiens. Yeah, they actually have the most championships of any team in the league, but they haven't won a championship since 1993. So, but they haven't been in the playoffs either since the early 2020s, I think. So, just getting in was a big deal this year, because we're, to Jim's point, we're still rebuilding, but they'll get back.
You're not rebuilding like the Blackhawks.
That's a bigger rebuild. You're right.
Longer rebuild.
Yeah. Staying on that train of thought, do you have any examples maybe of a piece that may have had really good, solid information, but lacked that context, lacked relevance, or even clarity to break through for AI to sort of pick it up?
So I see this all the time. I work with a lot of smart business owners and firms, and especially in the case of working with SaaS companies or IT companies. And what I see them all the time is they get so ingrained in that technology where they're like, I mean, I think if I'm being fair, sometimes we can be the same way,
Oh, yeah.
right? We start talking about things because we talk about them all the time and we just assume there's a knowledge base that people don't have. And so we're not really taking the time to meet people where they are. And so in this instance, I had it was a IT services management company, like an IT management company. And so what they were trying to communicate is that, they really do help people to manage their IT, and a lot of them are cloud solutions. And so, we just kind of dug in, and it's cool because I don't know a lot about that world. So I kept asking the questions, why, like, why does it matter? Why does it matter? Why does it matter? And at the end of the day, it got to, when we do this, we're able to reduce costs. We're able to reduce time. Well, that's what people care about.
Yeah.
IT, how does IT do this for you? And then when I gave them that, they were like, oh, okay, I get it. Like, what's the problem you're trying to solve? Back to my branding company. One thing he says is, here's the rock in my shoe. Right. And I love that because if you can figure out from your audience rock in their shoe, now you can write content that's going to show up because you're writing it different. If every other IT services company is writing technically and they're not solving problems, the one who does is going to get shown to people because they're probably answering the questions that people are actually asking.
Yeah. That's a great example. Jim, I want to zone in a little bit on the B2B side of things. Tell me if you think this is an issue. Do you think, it's a two-part question. Do B2B companies or brands still produce, a lot of generic, sort of undifferentiated content? And if so, why do you think that is? Why do you think it's still that undifferentiated?
Yeah, it kind of builds on what Kelly just said. If you think about these B2B companies, they're all about their features, like what their product does. And it's left to the interpretation of the person going to the website to figure out, yes, does that feature help me? Right? And so does it solve a problem? I don't know. And so that's what they do. They're kind of inside looking, that like pounding their chest, this is what we have. This is the product we have, as opposed to my product solves this problem or my service solves this problem. So they're focusing on their features. They're not focusing on solving a problem. A lot of times too, it's, you get the product development team, or the product management team, and the marketing team together, and the product managers say, this is what you have to talk about because this is what's important. And the marketing team says, no, this is what you have to talk about because that's what's important. And so they compromise, and then they don't help anybody, right? Because it's diluted completely. Based on, that committee that got together to talk about this widget.
And they're missing what the salespeople are saying that are talking to the customers, right?
Yeah, exactly. And it's one of those things where if they are trying to provide this content, they're on a deadline and, let's just get it out. Let's just get it out, as opposed to really solving the problem. They just get it out. It makes it difficult to really kind of come out and clear yourself away from all the noise, because it's just a matter of getting it done and getting agreement and pounding your chest about what you have, as opposed to solving that problem. So it ends up seeming, generic may not be the right word because the features may be different, but when you have commoditized products, then it's really difficult. And then it seems like they scream those features even more, as opposed to, okay, but what does it do for the end user? And so that's what makes it maddening at some points, but that's what happens. And they just have to understand, again, what the context is for the user that's searching and what they need to serve up to make sure that they take that rock out of the shoe.
Yeah. So, I mean, clearly there's a context issue there that needs to be solved. So I'm going to throw this one over to Kelly to sort of pick up on that and add some more insight. So how can things like perhaps internal data or a strong point of view give that type of content, or any kind of content for that matter, the context that it really needs, and context that others can't necessarily replicate. This is about differentiation again.
Yeah, I think, you're exactly right. I think it's a very good question. And quite honestly, I think that your internal data is the ultimate differentiator. So what I mean by that is anyone can really copy your topic now, right? You write a topic, I can tweak it and I can copy it, and I can say, oh, this is interesting, I want to write about it too. But no one can copy your lived experience, right? And so what you might want to do, for instance, is use customer surveys or insights that you might gather for a service. Like you want to highlight, let's go back to what Jim was saying, you're running a special. Maybe when you're running that special, you say to the people who took you up on it, like, what did you get their genuine impact. It doesn't have to always be give me a Google review. It's like, fill out this form that maybe I want other people to see and maybe I don't. And you can use it to improve processes, but you could also use it for positioning, right? And then take that, because that's what that's the experience your customers are actually valuing. Now, add those comments to your landing page, right? Add them to your blog. It's going to instantly stand out.
Absolutely.
Why? Because it's not regurgitated advice. It's actually what customers are saying about you and your service. Nobody can reuse that.
Yeah,
exactly. Okay, so there's a lot to unpack there. I think we've given our audience plenty to think about when it comes to context. I think, honestly, I love it. I think it's a great opportunity to do exactly what you just described, both of you guys just described, which is context gives you the opportunity to differentiate yourself, and you need to take that opportunity because AI loves it. AI needs it to pull you out, to separate the wheat from the chaff, and put you up on that pedestal and show you as the answer when people are looking for, when people are putting into pretty direct questions and they want to see direct answers. Now let's talk about some handy sort of thoughts and tools for our listeners. How do you guys feel that you build an answer-ready structure into the content right from the start, right from the get-go?
Yeah. So one, I think it's important for everybody to start doing that. And I think in questions now more than ever, if I'm writing a blog, there's always a FAQ. So if you write like somebody's trying to find answers, and one thing I still use is also asked. It's an app you can go on. I think you get 2 or 3 questions that you can ask. It'll give you a series of questions that other people are answering. They want you to start paying for it sooner than they used to, but it's still a good tool. But if you think about the questions and literally take those questions and put those into your subheadings, it's likely to get, because of that structure, it's likely to get pulled into AI results or feature snippets more often than not. Also lead with the takeaway, like I had talked about before. Just remember, nobody is reading to the end. They want the answer. If you say, is the sky blue? Yes, the sky is blue. And here are hues that you can go to. Download this. You know what I'm saying? Like it has to be right away, but it has to also add value because everybody can say, yes, the sky is blue.
I agree with Kelly. That's what's important.
Okay, so that wraps up a pretty large discussion on context, and hope you're feeling better about the what, so what, and now what around context. In my mind, it's a huge opportunity to really make your target audience understand a lot about your key areas that are important to them and the things they constantly ask about. But most importantly, it's a huge opportunity to differentiate yourself and, like Kelly said, add value a lot more. Thank you for tuning in to Why Your Business is Invisible Online. If you enjoyed today's episode, please do us a favor and subscribe and follow us on Spotify and Apple. Be sure to share it with other business owners who might find it helpful. If you want to dig deeper, contact us at ruinvisibleonline.com. That's capital letter R, capital letter U, followed by invisibleonline.com. Or message us on our LinkedIn business profile with the same title, Are You Invisible Online? The information shared in this podcast is for educational purposes only and should not be considered professional advice. The views and opinions expressed in this podcast are those of the hosts and guests and may or may not reflect the official policy or position of WSI Corporate. Always consult a qualified digital marketing expert before making significant changes to your online strategy. Until next time, keep connecting with the people who matter most to your business and join us for our next episode.